We're gonna see if we can get through this without waking up my son, because he's asleep in the next room. So let's see if I can do this. Hello, welcome to Caffeinated Cast-Ons YouTube channel. I am Therese, the face behind Caffeinated Cast-Ons. You can find me on Instagram as @CaffeinatedCast-Ons, and I share more making there. Excuse my voice. I still have morning voice. I'm trying to be quiet because my son is still asleep, and I'm trying to let him sleep in. It's a bit of a chaotic setup we've got this morning, but we're going to try and see if I can get through this before he wakes up. What's today's date? It is Saturday, August 17th. It's super early in the morning. This is like the only time this weekend really that I'm gonna have time to record, so I wanted to do that now. If you're new here, thank you so much for joining. This is a video version of Ravelry project pages where I just share my making, what I'm knitting on. I'm a North Texas based knitter, knitting 3 years now. So right now we're in the middle of clearing my needles. We're at the tail end of a summer sock camp, which is a make-along hosted by the Crazy Sock Lady. So I am working through mainly 2 projects right now. I have some stuff in hibernation, some stuff on the needles, but I'm just going to take you what I've been working on the last week. So let's get started with that. I do have my coffee I just made. I do pour over coffee, and I just frothed up some creamer, and I have that. Okay, the first project that I'm going to show you today is my Calivada Shawl by Casey Knits, and this is a really fun two color, well, it could be one color, but a 2 skein project. And I'm doing the 2 color version. You could do this as 1 color, but look how fun that is. So it is a right triangle getting bigger and bigger. So last week I was down here. You can see my little Texas charm. And I've got a good amount done. I did get through another repeat of the pattern, which is what my goal was for this past week. So I was able to do that. I am so close, but not so close to being done. I have 2 more repeats that I need to get through, and then I can bind off. I just love the texture that this is working up in. I am knitting in the I'm knitting this on a US size 4 Chalgu needle. Chalgu is just the needle set that I have. I believe the pattern calls for a US 4. I don't think I sized up. Typically I size up in needle sizes because I'm a bit of a tighter knitter. But I just stuck with that. And then my yarn, Ravelry project pages for the projects I'm talking about will be linked down below for more details and any notes I have on the project. I do try my hardest to keep those updated with photos, notes, any modifications. The yarn I am using is a Mace of Skeins yarn. And then this is on her Club Fingering base, which is an 80-20 mix of superwash and nylon. Sorry, like I said, still morning voice over here. But these are the 2 colors that I am using. This one is Dirty Cowboy and this one is Rodeo Queen. So like I mentioned, this is a 2 skein project, and so I am like, these were full skeins and I'm working my way through them. So I'm curious to see how much I have left over at the end of this. But yeah, not much to that one. The next project that I'm working on is a pair of socks for summer sock camp. And I think this is going to be my last pair for summer sock camp. And then I might take a sock knitting break. I don't know, but I am itching to cast something on new, particularly a garment for myself. So we'll see. But let me show you let me show you these socks because they are so much fun. I am knitting these 2 at a time, but not on one circular needle. So let me just show you socks. So, oh my gosh, look how fun these are. I love the striping of how they worked up. I'm working these cuff down on 9-inch circular needles, size US 1. I did 10 rounds for the cuff, 50 rounds for the leg. Last week I was down here, and this week the goal was to get to the heel, and I did that. I did the heel, finished the gusset decreases, and I'm back to my original stitch count, so now I'm just working on the foot length. Couple things to call out. I did have some bright yellow yarn in my stash that I thought would be really fun for the heel. For these socks, just because there is some yellow that pops out, a bunch of different colors that pop out really, but I thought the yellow would be super fun. So 2 things on that. 1, I did a heel flap and gusset, but I ran out of yarn, like literally at the end. So I just picked up my main color back up, but I just thought that was so funny. They're kind of imperfect, but it's fine because it's for me, and I just love them so much. Yeah, so because this was just scraps from my stash, so wasn't too concerned about it, but they don't match entirely. And then 2, I love seeing how the yarn pulled while working the gusset in the decreases. And they pulled very similarly, but just letting the yarn do its thing. And then the striping did pick back up. Sorry, once I got to my regular stitch count, but the stripes seem to be a little bit looser. They don't seem as tight as up at the top, which is fine. Again, these are for me. So both of those are being worked. And I did have the skeins split in half. I'm not going to take them out of the project bag. I just don't want them to get tangled because I'm already kind of tangling it up. Yeah, but did a lot of work. So again, that's where I was last week on this one. About the same spot on this one. So what I've been doing is, like, I'll just alternate knitting on them, and then, like, say I go a little bit longer on one, like once I got to the heel, I was like, okay, let me stop here, get the other one to the heel. So I get them both to the same spot. If I wanted, because like I knew this yarn was striping since I worked the leg first, if I wanted to avoid that whenever working this, I could have done a, like, either an afterthought heel or a fish lips kiss heel, and that would have kept my striping pretty much the same. So I could have done that. Do I wish I would have done that at first? I did, but I think it's just fun. It adds character to the sock, and I just like how the yarn is knitting up so much, so I don't care. But if you are doing any type of like striping sock or self-striping sock and you want it to be pretty consistent throughout, consider an Afterthought heel, Fish Lips Kiss heel. I'm sure there's other heels I'm not thinking of. Those are just the ones I know. But instead of a flap and gusset. But if the fit and structure of a flap and gusset is more important, then go with that. You know, if you're not too concerned about this, you'd rather have the heel fit well and be structured. I don't know of a way to keep that consistent with the flap and gusset. I would guess that it's maybe the way you're cutting and picking up your yarn, being more diligent on that. I don't know. I don't have that to share. But yeah, just something to think about whenever you're knitting self-striping socks. I'm not going to do a contrast toe. I think I'm just going to continue on with a regular color, unless I look at my stash and find something, but I think I just like it in the heel for this sock. One of my other goals from last week was to pick up my Afghan, because I do have a square that is missing from it, and I did not pick it up. I really just wanted to focus on the shawl and the socks, because I want to get the socks done and kind of go into September like starting to swatch for a new project. So yeah, I know that the whip portion was kind of fast just because I had only 2 projects I was working on, but I really just want to pull focus for those 2. To 1, close out summer sock camp, 2, to get that shawl off the needles, 1, because it's been on there a while, and 2, just because I don't know what else to say. So yeah, no finished objects, no new cast-ons. So goals for next week. I am certain I can get those socks to the toe, if not finished, by next week. So feeling pretty good about that, because I think I'm either halfway or more than halfway through. I think I'm more than halfway through the foot length of both of those socks. So I think I can get those finished next week. And then I would like to get another repeat in the shawl done as well. Excuse me. If I finish the socks or get through a repeat, whichever comes first, then I'm going to pick up my Afghan square. That's the plan, so I can get some other stuff moving along. Yeah, but feeling good about August knitting so far. I think it's going very well. And then I would like to start thinking about what my next cast on is going to be. I would like to start a garment. I've got 2 sweater quantities that I need to figure out what I'm going to do with, because they both originally had something planned for them. Like I bought them for a specific pattern, but I don't know if I'm feeling those patterns anymore. So I just need to reevaluate that. So I want to go through those 2 sweater quantities, decide on a pattern for one or both of them, and swatch. So I think I'm going to talk about that next week. Just going through the yarn, figuring out what I want to do, and getting a game plan for that. And then, yeah, I don't think I'm going to start thinking about DFW Fiber Fest yet, because I don't think I'm ready to pick out a whole new pattern. I did have one picked out, but I don't know. I'm not ready to commit. Which, if you don't know what DFW Fiber Fest is, it's just a fiber convention. They've got yarn, fiber, spinning, weaving, there's classes, a market, vendor hall. There are other bigger ones around the country, such as Flock, Rhinebeck. I'm sure there's another one I'm not thinking of. There's a lot, but there's one in Texas, and it's just DFW Fiberfest. And I've gone the past 2 years, and I'm going again this year. And so I want to get a game plan for my yarn purchases ahead of time. Yeah, so just trying to think of that because it is about a month away, maybe a little bit more, give or take. It is in September. So it's almost here, and I would just like to start thinking about that soon. So maybe that'll be in next week's episode of starting to think about plans. If not next week, then the week after that, but pretty soon, like towards the end of August, we'll start talking about Fiberfest and getting a plan in place for that. Okay. We talked about goals, Fiberfest. That's really all I have. And I'd like to finish my coffee in peace before my son wakes up. He's been stirring a little bit, but we're good. Okay, so let's talk about some simple joys. We'll close her on out each week with 3 simple joys. And these are just 3 random things that have been bringing me joy this past week. Simple joy number 1. I feel like I had a great week at work. It is crazy busy right now. I work in tech full time, and we've got a release coming up, and just last minute stuff. Like it's always something new. But some stuff came up and I feel like it was great. So I had a good week at work, and that made me feel really good. Simple joy number 2. I don't have it. It's in the room. I'm not going to go get it and bring it back and show it. But my husband got me, the pop figurines. Hang on, let me show one because I have one at my desk. So he got me Ted Lasso for Valentine's Day, I think. I have another one that is Ronda Rousey that my friend gifted me. I'm not a collector by any means, but my husband got me a Spongebob one, and it is of him holding the Krusty Krab pizza, and he's like singing. It's the part where he's singing like the high pitched note of the Krusty Krab pizza song, and it is the greatest thing ever. It was a just because gift, and it was so nice, and it really made me smile and laugh and giggle because, yeah, I love it. But that is another simple joy of this past week. And then simple joy number 3. Earlier this week, my throat was hurting really bad. I had a really bad headache, and like this is just morning voice. This isn't throat, but like my throat was really sore at the beginning of this week, and I was supposed to go see my friend and her baby and bring them a meal, but since I wasn't feeling good, I was like, no, like I need to stay home. But I got to FaceTime them, and I cried tears of joy. Her baby is so precious, and so yeah, I got to see them over FaceTime. I am excited because this next week I should be able to see them, so that was just touched my heart. Okay, I made it through. Hopefully the audio is okay because I'm trying to be quiet, and hopefully the mic picked me up well enough. I'll make sure, I'll check everything whenever I'm editing this. But thank you so much for joining me on this week's episode of Recapping Projects of a pair of socks and a shawl. I hope you have a good week, good day. Whenever it is you're watching this, enjoy your time and come back next week. I think we're going to talk about new projects. Hopefully I have a pair of socks to show you as a finished object. And yeah, I think it's going to get interesting going into the later half of August to get projects done and hopefully cast on some new things. So until next time, stay caffeinated.